A few more illustrations may suffice. Let us take a practical book first. The unity of Aristotle's ethics can be stated thus: this is an inquiry into the nature of human happiness. This is an inquiry into the nature of human happiness and an analysis of the conditions under which happiness may be gained or lost, with an indication of what men must do in their conduct and thinking in order to become happy or to avoid unhappiness. The principal emphasis being placed on the cultivation of the virtues, both moral and intellectual, although other goods are also recognized as necessary for happiness, such as wealth, health, friends, and just a society in which to live. It's a big paragraph. So we are trying to find the unity of Aristotle's ethics. So unity of Aristotle's Aristotle's ethics can be stated thus: this is an inquiry into the nature of human happiness and an analysis of the conditions under which happiness may be gained or lost. This is an inquiry into nature of human happiness and analysis of under which condition under which and analysis of the conditions under which happiness can may be gained or lost, with an indication of what, not only that condition, with the indication of what human must do in their conduct and thinking in order to conduct and thinking on in order to become happy or to avoid unhappiness, to become happy or to avoid unhappiness. The principal emphasis being placed on the cultivation of virtues, principal emphasis being placed on the cultivation of the virtues, both moral and intellectual, although other goods are also both moral and intellectual virtues, although other goods are also recognized as necessary. Other also other goods are also recognized as necessary for happiness, such as wealth, health, and friends, and just a society in which to live, and a just society in which to live. This is an inquiry into nature of human happiness and an analysis and an analysis of the conditions under which happiness may be gained or lost. Happiness may be gained or lost, with an indication of what human must do in their conduct and thinking in order to become happy or to avoid unhappiness. The principal emphasis being placed on the cultivation of the virtues, both moral and intellectual, although other goods are recognized as necessary for happiness, such as wealth, health, friends, and the society in which to live. Another practical book in Adams. Another practical book is Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. Here, the reader is aided by the author's own statement of the plan of the work. At very beginning, but takes several pages. The unit can be more briefly stated as as follows. This is an inquiry into the source of national wealth in any economy that is built on division of labor. This is inquiry on the source of wealth in any economy that is built on source of national wealth of any economy built on division of labor, considering the relation of the wages paid labor built on division of labor, considering that how the division of how the inquiry, considering the relation of the wages paid labor, the profits return to capital, and rent owed the landowner as the prime factors in the price of commodities. It discusses the various ways in which capital can be more or less gainfully employed and relates the origin and use of money to the accumulation and employment of capital, examining the development of opulence in different nations and under different conditions. It compares the several systems of political economy and argues for the beneficence of free trade. This is an inquiry into the accumulation of source. This is an inquiry into the source of national wealth in any economy that is built on division of labor, considering the relation of the wages paid labor, the profit returned to capital, wages paid labor, profit returned to the capital, and the rent owed the landowner, and the rent owed the landowner as a prime factors in the price of commodities. As a prime, what is the prime factors? Rent paid to the labor, capital return, profit returned to the capital, and the rent owed the landowner as a prime factor in the price of commodities. It discusses the various ways in which capital can be more or less gainfully employed. It discusses the various ways in which capital can be more or less gainfully employed and relates the origin and use of money, and relates the origin and use of money to the accumulation and employment of capital, relates the origin and use of money to the accumulation, relates the money, origin and use of money to the accumulation and employment of capital. It relates the accumulation of capital, examining the development of opulence in different nations. It examines the development of opulence in different nations and under different conditions. Development of opulence in different nations, and in different conditions. It compares several systems of political economy. It compares the several system of economy and argues for the beneficence of free trade. It compares the several systems of political economy and argues the beneficence of the free trade.